Hello, this is Victor Zaitsev from EnergyPerformanceHub.com, author of the Energy Performance Contracts Handbook on Energy Audit and Done. Today we will be talking about the next two stages of the energy performance contract development, namely Pre-Tender Qualification Questionnaire, PQQ, and Invitation to Tender, ITT. Let's start with the PQQ. Pre-Qualification Questionnaire. The purpose of this exercise is actually to separate the wheat from the chaff. What I mean by this is we've got to be comfortable with the companies which are going through the process and the companies which we are going to put into the ITT, Invitation to Tender stage. We basically have to let go all the companies which are not up to the job, basically. And there is certain criteria how we can make sure that we select the companies we would like to work with into the next stage. PQQ is not new and it's not massively different from any of the other tender processes, and I think lots of people and companies are aware of the process. Let's just quickly discuss the points which needs to be raised in PQQ. First of all, you've got to ask the suppliers to list their capabilities, whether they can deliver the job or not. The second thing you've got to make sure is organizational business. You've got to make sure that the companies who bid for the energy performance contract are actually in the business of energy performance contracts. They are not in business of facilities maintenance or energy management. Two different things. You've got to check the due diligence. And it seems kind of fairly straightforward, but the reference cases, the accounts, there is lots of things which companies can write in a language which is quite ambiguous, which might lead you to certain path through sales technique and marketing. And you just have to be very cautious and sometimes disciplined and sometimes even critical to spot the things which are not right. You've got to check the historic performance. Have companies delivered energy performance contracts in the past? Believe me, there is a hell of a lot of companies now on the market claiming that, they've been in business for 20 years, you name it. My experience is it's not actually true. There isn't many companies who truly delivered the projects in the past, including the demand side reduction. By demand side reduction, I mean reduction of energy consumption in the buildings, not just in the energy center. Site references. They've got to supply with you. It's up to you 3 site references of the energy performance contracts. And do not be afraid to call those, because some of the projects the companies have done might be energy management, or someone installed 3 VSDs in the building, they claim it energy performance contract. No, it is not. Health and safety track record. Health and safety is taken seriously now. Team structure and team players who will deliver the project. You will see the structures, whether it's flat, whether it's decisions are made at the top, and it should match your company, basically, your structure as well, basically, to make sure that the companies you select is right for you. Quality and environmental assurances. That's standard stuff, basically. Let's not discuss that. Financial options, payment and procurement. Making sure that the companies can deliver all the financial requirements you are put into them, and payments conditions and the rest of it. Basically, there is a rule. I know some companies, some frameworks say you've got to be doing 20 million turnover per year to be in energy performance contracts. but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of companies who can do that. So it's not a criteria. For the smaller companies who do not comply with this criteria, the only thing I can suggest is just partner. There's plenty of partnerships on the market. If you are that good, indicate your value, express your value, what you can bring to the big boss. There's plenty of partnerships in energy performance contracts now around and quite successful. So you just have to be a little bit smarter. Well, that is the PQQ stage. Again, this is just to make sure that you're selecting. Maybe I suggest 5 companies, maximum 5 top companies which you really want to investigate and see. They really all have got something to offer. They really have got potential. They've got track records. You've checked them and you work with them. Next stage is ITT, invitation to tender. You issue those 5 companies with invitation to tender. Take this step very, very seriously. Where with PQQ you might not have enough time, resources to check everything. Take ITT very, very seriously. Invest weeks of resources, of time for at least 1-2 guys just to come up with the strategy, come up with your key performance indicators, with just basically listing what would you want from this project. It's nice to say it's innovative project and we're open to every single best opportunity, but this is too vague. You just setting yourself up for some cool salesperson in a brilliant suit with a brilliant pitch which has been polished for years. With all this stuff, you've got to know what you're looking for. You can't just say I want everything, and I haven't made my mind. You've got to make your mind. If you have to pay some consultant or advisor to help you with that, then do so, because it will pay back quite soon. Let's just talk about what exactly you need to put into the invitation to tender. That list of the following information you've got to provide. Let's start. The first one is historical energy consumption and water consumption. So that if it's gas, electric and water for the last 2 years. Monthly consumptions, kilowatt hours and meters cubed. List of the buildings. So if it's a big estate, you've got the buildings, so list of the buildings, areas, occupancies of those buildings, and how are they used. Are those clinical facilities, are those offices, accommodation blocks, you name it. You've got to specify those. Also, you've got to supply recent gas, oil, and LPG and water bills. In terms of electricity, you've got to supply at least for 1 year for every month. The reason that you need to have one for electricity is there is triad charges hidden in there, and the companies will have to see that there might be some other charges, like if you have power factor below, say 0.8, 0.9, you might be getting charges which you are not actually aware of. By supplying those bills, the companies will be able to assess how to make those savings for you. So please do that. Half an hourly metering data, and some kind of high-level details of agreement with the utility companies, whether it's a 2-year contract, 1-year contract, you name it. You've got to specify those. You've got to supply recent capital program with a summary of changes. What specifically we are looking for here is what are the changes the estate is going through in terms of changing the buildings, selling some buildings, buying something new. It's all very useful information and has to be included. Energy conservation measures you have implemented. Each organization have done something about the energy. List those things. List the paybacks. List the investments and savings you've made. That's very useful. The log of complaints for the last year or two. That's incredibly useful document. and it's a massive document. But what it shows you, basically, you can see where and how, what causes those complaints. Maybe it's pure control, which could be fixed as a part of the project. Supply those information. The next thing, you need F-gas register. This is basically to pick up the HFC refrigerants like R22 or R12. Some companies still have R12, I've seen it. As a part of the project, the companies will be able to replace some of those. The next thing is air conditioning reports. They're very useful if they've been done properly by good consultants, and they're very useful. Specifically, one of the sections which actually provides recommendations on how improving the air conditioning system. Some key schedules of key equipment like air handling units, boilers, chillers, calorifiers. That's very useful. Some key mechanical drawings like HV schematic, steam distribution schematic, some key drawings, mechanical drawings for the buildings, for the bigger buildings. Backlog maintenance schedules. For those who are not familiar with it, it's just a list of the equipment in the building with assessed of risk of failure, which is kind of scored in a matrix, and this is multiplied against the basically what's the risk of this, what's the risk for the main service, for instance, for the main operation of a service in the building if equipment fails. As a part of the project, energy performance companies will be able to reduce those figures. So if you supply them with that, they will be able to put it in the presentation, in their proposal, what exactly they're going to do about it, and that's a key factor. There is lots of information in the estate and facilities team which needs to be dug out and shared with the suppliers. This could be, some quotes, some, voltage optimization you thought to do and you never done, but you still have the reports. You thought to replace windows and you've got the quote for that. If you've got a steam system, a little description about the steam system, about the energy center, percentage of condensate returned, if you have any steam processes. What are your aspirations in terms of the technologies? Do you want renewables? Every time I ask these questions, they will say, yeah, we want, but you've got to be realistic. Those technologies are with a very long payback, and you've got to think, do I do, solar thermal on the roof, or I upgrade BMS in 2 buildings? And the savings will not come from your solar thermal, the savings will come from the BMS. So think about it carefully. And the team structure as well. What's your structure? Match it with the structure of the suppliers. See the way the company works. If you've got flat structure and they've got a hierarchy of people and the decisions are made at the top, will it work in your company? Will it work as a partnership? Think twice. Another very key criteria, you've got to set up and explain your financial details. So what's the value of the project you're looking for? What's financial savings you're looking for? Energy savings, carbon savings. What's your carbon target? In terms of the finance, do you want VAT to be included? Have you got cash, or you want it to be borrowed? Would you like it to be done as a service level agreement? A kind of balance sheet model. If you have any PFI buildings, make sure you specify. If you have any buildings which you lease on a short-term basis, specify those. Those are likely to be excluded from the project. Well, this is basically all this information needs to be gathered and supplied. I know it sounds a lot, but believe me, when you will be evaluating those at the next phrase, you've got to be evaluating apples for apples. You want to have the projects which are kind of very similar. I know we're all talking about we are open to the suggestions, we want innovative approaches, blah blah blah. You know, it's just talk basically. It's just talk. Yes, there is some innovations coming through the industry, but do you want to be a guinea pig to be tested? I wouldn't want to be a guinea pig. I want some technologies which worked in the past. I want something which works and achieves guaranteed energy savings and the other parameters of the project. So make sure you do your work and you do all that, because it will make the next stages very very easy, specifically evaluation. Well, that's it for us, and thank you very much. This was Victor Zaitsev from Energy Performance Hub, and we'll speak to you soon.